Hello Internet, my name is the Golden Stalfos, and today I want to talk about Trigun. I realize that seems weird because Trigun is old, and most people don't talk about older anime unless they have like a weirdly specific point to make in their video essay. But I just think it's important to talk about the classics every now and then. And, you know, a lot of the older shows that are recognized as classics don't have enough YouTube videos about them. And I fear that people who, get into anime more recently won't ever go back and watch those shows because no one is saying, hey, these are the classics that generations of shows are built on. You need to watch those. Um, and of course, I'm far from an expert when it comes to like anime history and stuff like that, but I know a damn good show when I see it, and I've seen it. So let's talk about it. Trigun is a really old anime based on a really old manga. And when I say really old, I mean with air quotes because the anime is from like the 90s. But, you know, that's still kind of old in terms of animation. Um, and it's about this man named Vash the Stampede, who is a notorious wanted criminal, and two insurance agency girls who follow him around in order to try and prevent him from destroying things that their insurance company will have to pay for. And the twist is that he's a nice guy. He's a goofball. Um, and sometimes he's cool in a like effortless badass way, but most of the time it looks like he's being cool by total accident because he's a goofball. But he's a goofball on purpose. That archetype, right? That the reason that became popular is because of Trigun. Like it's so deeply imbued here. I mean, you could also make the argument that started with like Goku, but Goku doesn't try to be goofy and serious. He just does it, right? Whereas with Vash, you can tell he's putting on an act every time he gets goofy and every time he gets too serious. And the fact that he's putting on an act, uh, like, helps inform his character in a more interesting way. And that's a good thing since this show is mostly about his character and his history. Um, so the story is very episodic. Vash and the insurance girls travel around the countryside, mostly just for the sake of traveling, and, you know, end up going to a bunch of different towns, meeting a bunch of different people, getting involved with local conflicts, and saving the day. Although, most of the time, the local conflict is caused by Vash's mere presence because he's worth 60 billion double dollars. um, I don't know why they're called double dollars, but it's endlessly hilarious to me, and maybe that's why. I mean, the author probably just thought it sounded funny and used it, but. Oh, by the way, if you ever wondered why Edward Elric has such a distinctive red coat, it's because he wants to look like Vash the Stampede. That's it. That's the whole reason. Um, that's it. Uh, and you can see the design influence from this show in a lot of other shows, but the main point of this show is the characters. So, like I already said, we've got our lovable goofball slash badass Vash. We've also got, um, Millie, who is like 8 feet tall and carries a giant ass Gatling gun that makes everyone who sees it just like tremble in fear. Um, and her partner, Meryl, who is like, she's a tsundere. I mean, she's a little more nuanced than that because there's not really a romance in this show, but yeah, and her thing is that she carries apparently just 8,000 Derringer pistols at all times. I have no idea why. You would think she'd just carry a slightly more practical weapon, but whatever. You would think that the main advantage of these pistols being like really tiny and concealable kind of disappears when you carry a bunch of them, but whatever. Um, then there's the priest guy who carries a machine gun cross and is hunting Vash because reasons. Honestly, Wolfwood's motivations are really weird. He's that standard like side character who is effortlessly cool and sometimes pitted as the enemy to the protagonist and sometimes just like a friend, and you never tell if they're like rivals or not, because they don't quite act like rivals, but they do like butt heads all the time, but they're also friends, you know that character. And but he's also the tragic priest who has like this horrible backstory and smokes himself into an early grave, and you know bums his way around the countryside bearing a giant fucking machine gun cross on his shoulders. Um, it's not just a machine gun though. One part is a machine gun, another part is I think a rocket launcher, and the other two little bits have like other guns stored in them, so it's just like a fucking like gun stash attached to your machine gun. It's ridiculous. And hilarious. So, yeah. And then, of course, there's Vash's brother, who is a little bit fucked up in the head, and, you know, may or may not be trying to end the world. This is one of those shows that starts out very happy-go-lucky slice of life stuff in a sort of weird world, but then by the end you're just in this weird surreal like dream state where you can't tell if they're doing flashbacks or not, and you know kind of like a Evangelion type thing at the end where there's a bunch of symbolism, and maybe the world ends or maybe the characters die, or you know um, but it's very fun and enjoyable, and it really does get you thinking about life and stuff when they get to that part. And until they get to that part, it's a lot of fun action and character drama. And honestly, there's lots of moments where the side characters in the story stand out just as much, if not more, than the main characters. Um, and it can be really like interesting to see moments where where our main cast has to like deal with these other very well written characters in their little episode and then move on, which is like the point of an episodic show, right? Like, you want to take interesting characters and put them in interesting situations and then move on and do another one next week. And most episodic narratives fail to do that, but Trigun succeeds incredibly well. Um, you know, it's just flawless. Um, and ultimately, when I look back at the history of anime, when I watch a bunch of, modern shows, there's so much stuff where I just think, man, that's a lot like Trigun. you know Um, actually, pretty recently saw a Netflix original show. Oh, I can't remember what it's called. Hang on. It was called Cannon Busters. Um, and it's just like a much worse version of Trigun, right? Like they're still trying. Well, it honestly feels more like they're kind of going halfway between Trigun and Bebop, and failing to do what either of those shows did. Um, but like the main character is just an idiot, and he's immortal, and he has a car that turns into a mecha bull, and he just like is helping this robot find a prince, and it's so dumb. Um, it's really dumb, but everything about it, like the intro, when you watch it, like you just think, wow, this show really wishes it could be Trigun, doesn't it? Um, and if you're seeing that, 20, almost 30 years after the show originally came out, you got a good show. So if anyone hasn't seen Trigun, I highly recommend it. It's actually not that long as far as anime go. It's only got like 2.5, 3 seasons, um, by the standard count of a season, which I know is weird, but yeah. And it's very much worth your time. You'll fall in love with the characters, and you'll be taken on a journey unlike many others. Like there are a handful of other shows that really do nail the episodic format and get, you know, characters that you can really connect with and get behind. Bebop is another great example. Cowboy Bebop is just like an incredible episodic show. And of course, Trigun being a Western themed show always makes me think of Cowboy Bebop because it has the word cowboy in it. I think the name Cowboy Bebop is misleading because it's about bounty hunters in space and not jazz cowboys. I mean, there is a lot of jazz, and they do refer to bounty hunters as cowboys. So, I mean, you know, but still. In any case, if you've never been through Trigun, if you've never had that episodic journey, I can't recommend it enough. There's a ton of great moments with heart and humor and action and drama, and there's a lot of just really fun, interesting characters to enjoy along the way. And it even gets a little sad at times. I mean, it's not like the kind of sad that makes you cry, or at least didn't me, but you know, it does get sad. So, yeah, I highly recommend you watch Trigun, and you know, leave some comments down below telling me what you think about this show, and I'll see you in the next life. Thanks for watching. Laters. Hey, thanks for watching the video. If you have any things to say about it, leave those in the comment section. If you like the video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell, share the video, tell your friends, start a cult, sacrifice your firstborn and paint their skull golden. I don't know, not that last bit. No human sacrifices. I'm legally liable. No, none of that shit. But, I got Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. I stream on Mondays. I also have a Patreon, but the obvious caveat with Patreon is you never donate to anyone unless you have money to burn. And if you have money to burn, then why not donate to a charity instead? I've got a few linked in my description at all times. I'm not affiliated with any of them, obviously, but yeah, I just thought they were cool. So, thanks for watching.